Okay, welcome to your second C# tutorial. And in the last tutorial, we sort of started up Visual Studio and we were ready to write some code. There are a couple things that I want to go over before we start, though. Um, First thing, when the program starts up, there is probably going to be a welcome screen right here. I have disabled it. I just don't really use it that much, but you can leave that open. It's going to have a few, helpful articles or videos on there, so you can leave that open. But the second thing is the Visual Studio window is actually going to be, completely white. The background is going to be white. I did turn that off because it just makes it easier for me to look at. It doesn't hurt my eyes as much. So if you want to do that as well, go to Tools menu up here and Options, and under General, in Environment General, change the color theme to dark. So right now it should be light, so it looks something like this. As you can see, it's very, very bright. So if you wanted to change it to dark, just go ahead and click dark. It doesn't, add or remove any functionality, just, simply for looks. So don't worry, if you want to work with white, you can work with white. Okay, so now we're ready to start writing some code. So the first thing you're going to do is create a project. Okay, the project is gonna include all of our files and all the settings for our program. In order to create it, you have to go to the File menu, then click New Project. So on the left side here, you see a couple of templates. For me, it's Visual Basic, C#, C++. Obviously, we're going to work with C# only, so choose C#. And from this section, you can choose the project type. We're going to get to Windows applications. Windows application, basically, something like a calculator. If you go and open a calculator, something like that. Hey, we might end up making something like that. Why not? But that's basically a Windows Forms application. If we choose a console application, that looks something like this. You also have seen, Windows like that. It is a command prompt, but a console application looks pretty much identical as this. So there's no buttons, there's no menus or fancy effects. It's all text-based. But the upside is the program is going to be a lot simpler. You don't have to worry about all the additional stuff. It's just going to be the functionality, and so it's going to be great for beginners. So we're going to choose console application. So we're going to get to forms though fairly soon actually. So what you have to do is change the name for the program. So call it something meaningful. I'm just going to call it tutorial 1. And in the location, you can choose to save it somewhere else. I'm just going to leave it to the documents folder and projects. So call it tutorial 1 and make sure you have console application selected. Click OK. Okay, so it brings up a bunch of code. So if you are coming in from other languages like Java or something, you probably can look at it and you go, okay, I understand what's going on here. But for people who have never worked with programming before, you're gonna look at it and go, what the heck? You're not gonna know what's going on. So what I'm gonna actually, I think, do is get rid of all this code. What Visual Studio does is sort of generates a bit of starter code for you, so you can just as soon as you create a project, you can just start writing code immediately. You don't have to worry about creating sort of the skeleton for the program. Sorry, my voice is giving out. Okay, so I'm going to start by explaining a little bit about how C# works. C# basically is a object-oriented programming language. Okay, so what that means is you have objects, you have classes. Okay, because before back C and all the older programming languages, there were no such concepts. So in C#, everything is sort of a member of a class. Okay, so what we're going to write today is going to be included in a class. So what we're going to do is create our first class. So how do you do it? You type in the word class. Okay, so as you can see, something pops up at the bottom. This is called IntelliSense. This is basically hints for you. So you can type in code a lot faster. So if I just type in CL, it still says class. So I can either click it, double click it, and it'll complete it for me, or I can just press in tab, okay, and it will autocomplete. So you might want to get used to using IntelliSense. It does make your life a whole lot easier. But if you want, you can just type in the stuff yourself. If you just keep writing, it's not gonna change what you're writing at all, as long as you don't press tab. So you don't have to worry about that. So now that we have class, what we have to do is name our class. So what I usually do is name the class the same as what I've called the file, which is which the class is in. So if you go on the right side here, this is what we call the Solution Explorer. This basically shows your project and all the files and everything that's in it. At the bottom here with the C# icon right here, you can see program.cs. This is the file that we're working with. Right here, as you can see, and on the tab it shows here program.cs. So if I wanted, I can type in program, and that's my name for the class. You don't have to. You can call it really whatever you want. Just make sure you remember what you did and you reference it properly throughout the program. So just to sort of illustrate my point, I'll just call it my program. Okay, so it's different, and it'll work. So in order to tell the program what, or not what, but where the class starts and where it ends, what we have to do is enter in a few braces. So if you look at the bottom here, it says that we have two errors, okay, and it's telling that this brace is expected and this brace is expected. So basically it's telling us that it can't find these. It doesn't know where the class starts and ends. So what we have to do is type in order to show, okay, this is where it starts, we have to do this brace. The left brace or opening brace, a bunch of people call it a bunch of different things, but you type in this curly brace, and then we have to say, as at the bottom, as you can see, it says this brace is now expected. We type in that brace, okay, and the error goes away at the bottom. Okay, so basically what this means is all of our code needs to be within these two braces. Okay, so some of you might be thinking, okay, well, that's going to look really weird if all of our code is sort of in this line. It's just going to be a giant line. Well, you don't have to. What you can do is actually move this stuff at the bottom right here. So the first brace is on this line, and then this brace is on this line. Okay, and then if you go here, press enter once, there we go, it sort of indents it for you. So it's just easier to read. So all of our code can be in here. I mean, I can type whatever here, and it'll still be part of the class because we have these two braces. Okay, obviously this is just gibberish, so let me just get rid of that. So now that we have our class, let's start by running the program. Okay, it's not going to run because we're still missing a few different things, but I just want to show you what happens if we have a program which has errors. So it starts building the project, controller1, blah blah blah. We get a little error if you click no here. Okay, it says this program does not contain a static main method. Okay, so the program, like, we have a class, but it still doesn't have what we call a main method. It doesn't know where to start, okay, what to do. So all of our instructions have to be included in the main method, okay. And it's not just a main method, it has to be a static main method. So I'm gonna go over what static means and all that in I'm not sure actually. Maybe a few videos down the road. But so for right now, just type in static right here. Static again shows the hints here. So press tab. So static. Now, uh, our methods actually need to return something in C#. Okay, so here, if I type in just main, the program doesn't know what it returns. So in this case, we don't want it to return anything. We just want it to sort of do its thing, and then that's it. So how we can do that is typing in void. So right after static and before main, I can type in void. Okay, that basically shows the program that this method does not return anything. So after this is done executing, that's it. Okay, we're not going to do anything with the data. So what you want to do is type in a left bracket and a right bracket, and then do the braces again. Okay, this is going to show, okay, this is where our method starts and this is where it ends. Okay, these brackets though, I'm not going to go too much in depth into it. Basically, you can use these brackets for parameters or command line arguments. As you can probably guess, a lot of programs use command line arguments to do different things, but I'm not going to go over all of that yet. Just we're going to take this one step at a time, so just leave it empty for now. Nothing in between, just left bracket and right bracket. So now we have our main method. So technically the program should work, right? I know it says it still gives us the main method right here because I haven't rebuilt it. If I were to go to build, rebuild, there we go, one succeeded, so there's no errors. Just close that. So if I were to run it, it should work, right? But because we don't have anything in this program yet, it's not going to do anything. So if I click start right here, the green play icon here, if I click start, for a split second you could see a window popped up, but it closed automatically. Alright, so if I do it again, you see it again, there we go, for a second. So that means at least our program is working, so that's good. Okay, you guys just created your first real program with C#. But you obviously wanted to do something extra. Okay, maybe show something on the screen, or how about let's just make it so that it at least stays on screen. Okay, so it doesn't completely closes after that, after it's done doing what's in the main method, right? Because right now all it's doing is it starts the main method, it says, oh, I'm not doing anything here, so it gets to this point and then it ends, right? So one thing you can do is make the program wait until we press a key. So what we can do is type in console dot read. Okay, we want it to read a key, and then you type in the brackets again and then close it and then press semicolon. So I know it's showing a red squiggly line. There's probably an error. If I go to errors list, it says the name console does not exist in the current context. We'll get to that, but one of the important things in programming is this right here, the semicolon. That's very important. There are a few exceptions where you don't want to put in the semicolon. As you can see right here, I don't have a semicolon here, but here I do. In order to tell the program, okay, this is the end of this current line, I want to move to the next line and do something different, right? You have to put in a semicolon. Okay, so just make sure you put that in. I know some of the beginners are going to have a lot of problems with remembering to put in the semicolon, so you might have some errors pop in, but Visual Studio is pretty good at telling you that you're missing a semicolon. It should show right here that a semicolon was expected. Okay, so now to get to this error, how do we fix it? Well, if we move over to the right here in the references section, if you open it, there's actually a bunch of references, Microsoft.C#, system, system.core, blah blah blah. These are basically external libraries that we can use. So the console object that we're going to need is actually part of the system namespace. Alright, so we already have a reference to it, so that's good. But it's still giving us an error. Why is it it's giving us an error? We still have to tell the program that we want to use it in this particular class, in this file. So there's a couple of ways of doing it. The manual way of doing it is actually go back to where we typed in class, press enter a few times so we have some room. At the top, type in using and type in system. There we go. So again, just like everything in C#, everything is case sensitive. So you can't have, a capital Y. It's going to give an error. And just like for main, I can't have main right here. It's not going to work. So it has to be capital M, lowercase AIN. So the case is very important. You gotta watch that you don't have, your caps lock key on and stuff like that. So let's change it back to using system. So immediately, as you can see, the console, turns green and the error is now gone. So technically, if we run it, it should work, right? So if we run, click start, and there we go. Now it's on screen, it's not going anywhere. I can even type in whatever, right? It's gonna keep reading. And if I press enter, they'll go away and the program will now end. So that's a very basic program that you can write with C#. I think it's like 16 minutes long now, 17 minutes. So I'm gonna cut the part right here, and in the next tutorial I'm gonna go over writing something and making it show up on the screen, and then maybe do a little bit of math or something like that. We'll do all that in the next tutorial. Okay, so thanks a lot for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video.